All right, guys. So today we're talking about law of correspondence. This isn't just a universal law or one of the laws of yeah, universal laws. It's a hermetic philosophy as well. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about the history of that so you guys kind of know where it comes from. It's really
Just the
interesting.
universal law or one of the laws of
Actually,
the
yeah, that off. Uh, okay. First, I do want to do like a short meditation and breath work to reset the nervous system. So if you're able, go ahead and close your eyes, sit up straight, put your hand on your heart and your other hand on your lower abdomen, and inhale, hold, and exhale slowly. And inhale again, hold, and exhale. One more time. Inhale, hold, and exhale. I want you to bring a feeling into your heart. Maybe it's peace, love, whatever it may be that you've been wanting to feel, and feel that feeling. If you can't just go to that feeling, go to an event or some kind of memory that brings that feeling up and hold it. If it if you start thinking or it goes away, just go right back to it. It's okay. And then inhale, hold, and exhale. And when you're ready, open your eyes. All right. So Hermetic roots um, that came from ancient Egypt, Greece, and even the Kabbalion. It's connects. So law of correspondence. This is really important. So Hermetic philosophy has seven principles, and we're actually going to discuss that along with the universal laws because they actually go hand in hand. The universal laws expands it more. So there's actually more universal laws than there are Hermetic principles, but you'll see how all of the universal laws are fit in the seven principles of Hermetic philosophy. It's really interesting. So they one of them is the mind is everything is mental. So everything comes from you. And I was talking about the nervous system and everything else that we've talked about so far. You probably have already started seeing that yes, everything's coming from us. And so law of correspondence even ties us in more. So law of correspondence is I'm gonna go to my notes here. Um, this is like as above, so below, as within, so without. And this is the one where it's actually there was one more part to it. I'm gonna see if it's in here. No, I didn't get it. Okay, but it was something about the soul. So the uh what this basically means is what you see on the outside is also happening on the inside. What you see like in the cosmos is also a reflection of you. And so like everything you look around is actually can teach you more about yourself. The micro reflects the macro. The outer world reflects the inner world. So whatever you have going on in your life, it's going to be reflecting on the outside. And law of correspondence is the universal law behind that. I found it interesting that the universal laws are laws that cannot be broken. And there's religions where there'll be like certain commandments, like I know in Christianity, there's the 10 Commandments. You can break those. Universal laws are not things that you can break. It's just the way that things seem to work. And the more you look into it, even to try to discredit in any way, you'll just notice the truth in it. Um, so this is this is really, I think, a really good tie-in from our nervous system talk that we've been talking about. So I wanted to bring in the nervous system side of things. And so I wanted to bring out like a kind of like an idea of like, whenever you are feeling chaotic or like, have you ever had a time when you got up and like something bad happened right in the beginning of the day? You stubbed your toe, whatever, and then you get late to work. It's like one bad thing after the other. And like some people will be like, when it rains, it pours. It's not that it's coming from you because you set up that time at that moment in the beginning of the day getting upset about something. So that energy comes out. And then if you don't reset yourself, reset that chaotic energy going on inside of you, then it just keeps on coming out and you just keep on having situations that reflect that chaos that's happening on the inside of you. So, like, if you have any feeling like you don't feel like you're attractive, well, guess what? The world is going to reflect that back to you. If you feel like you're not successful, the world, it's going to be reflected back to you. So, it's not about like reality showing you what really is, it's showing you what you really are. And so like everything that's happening, and I know so that can come to a place of like blaming and feeling shame or judgment for yourself, depending on like the bad things that may be happening. But that's not anything. So we have our shadow side and we have our light side. When I say shadow side, that's like our our sinning side. It's a it's the having to learn how to love, where you're the harmed person or whatever it is, like whatever challenge you came in, that's part of your shadow, is that you're having to overcome. So let's say that your shadow is selfishness. Well, then your end goal is actually going to be the opposite. So your end goal would actually become selfless, but you have to go through this obstacle for it. And so these shadows that we came in with is basically our path. That is what we have to go through in order to come out on the other side. And that other side is actually carries all the gifts that we've been seeing in our minds, the what we feel in our hearts that we want, what we've been desiring is all on the other side of that. So the shadow isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's like the challenge in the game. So whenever you see the reflection of your own shadow outside, it may look ugly. It may not be something you like, but it's showing you something that you need. And it's showing you it's becoming more aware. And the more aware we are, the better we do. People say people do better if they knew better. And I think it's more people would do better if they were more aware. Because you can know, but what if you don't know how you're acting? Like if you're not aware of everything around you and how it's like telling you more about yourself, then you're gonna probably blame the outside world, not realizing it all comes from here. And I know that sometimes you're gonna be like, well, I didn't make this person do this to me when I was a child, or I didn't make this person do that, or why I didn't want this person to die. Like, what about that? There's like there's complexities on everything. But when it really comes down to it, your experience, and if that makes sense, the experience that you're having, despite the circumstances, despite the game going on, your experience is a reflection of you. And somebody else could be in the same scenario and be having a completely different experience because that's where they're at, even though the circumstances are the same. So it's not about the circumstances. Even though it seemed like that makes sense, it would be about the circumstances. It's not. It's about you, and the reflection of your own is going to give you a certain experience. Does that make sense? So, so whenever you notice that like one thing after the other is going bad, this would be a good time to reset. Do a reset on your nervous system to chill out, go for a walk. And that's something that I want to show you guys. So I came up with a little worksheet for y'all. I'm gonna send it into the chat. I want y'all to go through with this. We're gonna go through this one because becoming aware of where you really are and what's going on, I think is really important. So I'm going to pull this up so we can, yeah, I just put it in the chat for you guys. And then I'm going to share my screen so everybody can see the worksheet too. But I want to make sure. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Law of correspondence. Oh yeah. As the universe, so the soul. That's the last part of that saying. I know it had something with soul in there. As above, so below, as within, so without. As the universe, so the soul. And it's really, really interesting how it really is the truth. Like, if you want to know like what foods are good for certain parts of your body, usually it's the food that looks at like that type of body part. And it's really interesting. And then if you look at a tree's roots, it's like our nervous system and looks like kind of like a brain in a way. The nerves that go through that. And it's really cool to see that going throughout nature. That's why I like to go and walk in nature. But the Hermetic principle teaches us that the inner world is reflected in the outer world. Our nervous system, beliefs, emotions shape the reality we experience. And so now, what is one repeating outer challenge you've noticed in your life? And y'all go ahead and download this or make a copy. You want to go to file, make a copy, and that way y'all can write on it yourself. If you want to write in your journal, this is a great time to do that too. And just becoming aware, what is one repeating challenge that you notice in your life? What's the biggest problem you're having right now? Or a repeating one? And then once you've identified that, how does this challenge make you feel in the body? I want you guys to scan your bodies when you're thinking of this. Like, are you in fight? Do you feel like fighting? Do you get angry? Flight? You run away from it? Freeze? You don't want to do anything? Or fawn? Do you want to just try to coddle it? And then what inner belief, wound, or pattern might this outer challenge be reflecting back to you? What is it that goes through your head? That's that thought we've talked about.
This is the one I have trouble. This is the one that bugs me. I
What?
have trouble. The three is the one I have trouble figuring out. The inner belief.
Okay. All right. Um, what do you notice yourself thinking about with that thought? Like whatever the thought is that's creating the problem, whatever it is, like is it like let's say that okay,
I'll,
one repeating problem
I'll,
is huh?
I'll tell you the.
Okay, I didn't want to like all right, yeah, go ahead.
No, and this used to be so easy for me. Now it's been really hard. Is and we've talked about this. Is keeping money coming in.
Keeping money coming. So
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
It's
So
almost like I try to push it away at times.
yeah. Do you feel like you're good with money?
Yeah,
You do? Okay.
yeah.
Um, do you feel like have you ever looked at somebody with money and thought they were a bad person?
I've done both. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've done both.
Okay. Do you still feel that way? Like if you see somebody with money, do you feel like they must have done something bad or?
No, and the bad part is I know some people that has done some pretty shitty, crooked deals, and that's where I'm like, yeah, that just doesn't. I mean, so it's not really the money, it's the process, what they did. Like I know a guy that went to a repo auction, and he was the only guy standing there with his banker, and he made $1 million. Yeah, it was crooked.
Oh. So, okay. So, this would be something to journal out.
Okay.
I would just start brainstorming because, like, I mean, I could keep on asking questions, but this will be
Uh,
something that you have to get to know
uh,
is like, what is it? Like, and you actually don't have to think too hard on it, but I would like just ask yourself and then don't think and see what's the first answer that comes up. So how about this? Like, let's just like stop thinking about that for a moment. And we're gonna so the next thing, and then I'm gonna come back to it, okay?
yeah.
Um, and then the new interstate, what you really want to be doing, this is the bigger thing to focus on actually, is like how do you really want to feel? What do you want to embody instead? Like abundance in that one, right? Or peace? Is it security? What is it that you're looking for? Stability? How would it feel if you had money coming in over and over and over and had plenty?
I'd feel a lot less worrying about stuff.
Mm-hmm. How about like, is there, so that would bring you more peace?
Well, hold on, let me recheck. I used to have a W-2 job. I see I'm all cross-armed and everything. I was talking about it. I used to have a W-2 job, and okay, um, yeah, I got okay. Anytime I've ever had a partner, I've had trouble with it, marriage or business partner.
Oh, okay. Um, so who we do business with is going to affect our energy and it's going to affect like us getting money. So like I've noticed that too. Um, so I'm being a more discerning on who I have as my lender because if like they're a worrisome person or if their energy isn't in line with mine, it causes like delays always happen with that problem that property while all the others are fine. You know, so it's like it definitely makes a difference. I've noticed.
Yeah, I've done business with people who that would do business with me, not who are aligned with me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that you need to go more for alignment, and that way, um, you're not getting other people's energies that's not going to help in that mix. Because energy to me is the most important thing. So if like that's off, you can try as hard as you want in the physical, it's just not going to work. Not for very long. Um, so that actually kind of helped me identify a little bit more. If you're picking people that will do business with you instead of who's aligned with you, are you coming from a place of desperation?
Oh yeah, I had a self-worth issue at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe you didn't think you were worthy of having the money.
Oh yeah, at one point for sure.
Yeah. Do you think maybe that's some residual stuff going on?
Oh, maybe so, because I've just kind of figured that out in the last couple months. Um, yeah, like when I was up to 25 or 26, it was just really easy for me to make. I mean, it was just like shit, there's another 1,000 in the account. It was just easy. And
Hmm.
it got to be, man, I need $10 just to balance the checkbook.
So that easy feeling that you were just talking about, can you feel into that again? Can you bring that back into your experience?
I think so.
Try to do that. So like when in every morning, if you could do this, like in the morning and at night, do like a little bit of breath work. And in that space, like where we do the 17 seconds, bring in that feeling of peace or ease. And it could be ease and peace, just mix it in there and just feel into that for at least 17 seconds twice a day, morning and night. And make a note every time you do it so that you make sure calendar, like make sure you're doing it every day. And I want you to tell me how many days it took for things to start coming into you.
Well,
Um,
they've already started coming, to be honest with you.
oh, okay.
This hadn't been easy. I bought me a $50 silver piece. It'll be 2 weeks Saturday. It's got the Liberty Bell, and I turn it up on the Liberty Bell and I rub it all the time. That it talks about how opportunities come easy.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's good. So that's the thing. Like, so your inner belief, if you can figure out what that is, that's keeping you there so that you can change it. But for now, we can at least try to override it with the new feeling and the new energy of ease, peace.
Well,
And
see, go ahead. Yeah, and I mean, some of it's really coming because I bought a house the other day. It's the second one I bought on owner financing in the last couple of months. But
congrats.
my realtor and my buyer both said, "Oh, man, you'll rent that for about 900. That's all you're going to rent it for." And something about it, I always wanted to make it an Airbnb, and then I said, "Well, I want to rent it to a 55-year-old woman that'll take care of it." My friend called me the other day, and we haven't talked in 6 or 8 months. Hey, she goes, "You know anybody that's got a house for rent that they'd be willing to make an Airbnb out of it?" I said, "Yeah, I do, and I want 1,100 for it." She goes, "Okay, when can I look at it?" And I told my realtor buddy yesterday what I got rent for, and he goes, "Holy cow, you can't tell Chuck how much you got for it." I said, "Okay," but
That's so okay. So those kind of wins, like focusing on that too, because that's great. Like it'll be feeling like it doesn't matter what other people say, you're gonna get what you want. It's easy. It comes your peace, you're at peace because it just keeps on coming in. And then once you start embodying that at least twice a day, I would really love to know how long it does take you. And then what's one small step that you can take this week to nurture this new state inside of yourself? Not just from what I told you guys, meditation, but is there something else that you guys can do to help nurture that? And I think you said some of it, Ryan, already. Like you already got that Liberty Bell, you're already rubbing it. But how about you, Audra? Anything that you
Yeah, I answered the questions in the chat, but I
Oh
think
my bad.
for number four, one thing that I could do is find inspiration in things that have become obligations.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel better motivated to do the things I'm supposed to be doing that are not
Yes.
really fun. So yeah.
Oh, that's great. Oh yeah, and that's gonna help free up some space. Like the whole like clutter and disorganization can cause like a why can't I think of the word right now? Like a block, a block to your what you want and your blessings. So that's a really good thing to work on. I do that like my garage will get cluttered, and then like when things aren't moving around in my business, I'll go and clean my garage, and then things start moving again. I'm like, all right. As above, so below, like as within, so without. So it's like, all right, I need to clean this energy up. Um, and it's like, so maybe an inspiration, and because I do this for my own inspiration, Audra, as I think of like, oh, I wonder what's going to come into me whenever I clean this one area. Like, how much money am I going to make off this area? Like, it'd be cool if I could get this deal sold from cleaning up this area. So again, the outer world is your mirror. as within, as you shift within, your reality will shift too. It just does. In fact, there's this forgiveness prayer, guys, that I have in our workbook thing here. If you guys ever want to just check out the workbook, there's all this stuff in here. Okay. It's forgiveness prayer. Uh, so, um, if there is anyone or anything that has hurt me in the past, knowingly or unknowingly, I forgive and release it. If I have hurt anyone or anything in the past, knowingly or unknowingly, I forgive and release it. If I've hurt myself in the past, knowingly or unknowingly, I forgive and release it. It's a really powerful prayer. And if you're dealing with any kind of resentment, anger, sadness, usually anger is just sadness disguised, but you feel these feelings like that, this prayer is a good one to be praying. And then I also like to like send love to the people that are like irritating me or I'm just having a problem with. I'll actually picture them like a baby and I'll send them love, knowing that a child, a baby, they just need love. And we do too as adults, but sometimes when adults are doing certain things, it can be a little more difficult to want to be so loving. So you may want to be avoiding instead. But this is great. And you'll notice when you do this, as within, so without, these people will start calling you or they'll start coming nice. Like things start changing, like the issue starts dissolving itself. When I know I'm about to go into a place and I'm not sure if something good's going to happen out of it, like because there's some issues. I will sit in the car and I will set the intention that no matter what, everything works out in my highest good and everyone else's highest good in the room. And we whatever it is, there's always a solution that's found. And there are no problems. And so then I'll go in there and then everything's fine. I'm like, yay. So and you know how we'll have these thought loops where we'll be like thinking, oh no, this person's gonna be mad at me, or this is gonna go wrong, or like I need to do this, like whatever your thought loop is. That's a negative one where you're starting to worry and you have that negative thought loop going. You'll start noticing if you're thinking, oh, these people aren't gonna like me, guess what? All of a sudden those people aren't gonna like you. If you think I don't know if I'm gonna be accepted, I don't think I'm gonna be accepted, you're probably not gonna be accepted. Because as within, so is out. Now, if you did get accepted, that's great. You get the feeling, but there's a lot of things going on in all of us. So sometimes it's like, how did that happen? I didn't believe it would happen. Well, maybe you had faith it could happen for you. There was something going on. And so it's being reflected back to you. Um, but going back to this, and I'll stop my sharing now. The law of correspondence is really important because this is one thing that in my readings that I used to do, that I would get information on how the body was the secret, had the secrets of the universe in it, and the way it was already created. And then like, the earth was like the heart chakra and all this stuff. And I was like, wow, everything's, this is before I knew universal laws or Hermetic philosophy. I was like, everything seems to be a reflection of the outer and the inner. And I was just thinking that, like, at that time, from what I was noticing, and it's so like, if you just go in nature and you're having a problem and you're not really looking for a solution, you're just going just to be. And you go in nature and you start taking a walk. And you may have had a problem, and that's why you're walking. If you just let it be, all of a sudden it's like a butterfly will come up and do something and it will show you the answer. Or the birds, if you're just willing to just sit there and receive it, it will present itself. And it's really cool how that just works out, how it's like the outside will show you what you need too. It always does. And like sometimes we don't like it, but it's showing us what we need to see in that moment. And whatever you're seeing that you're not liking, that's something to reflect on. And if it's something you do like, it's something to make note on. Add more of that. And then this thing that's triggering me or whatever, what can I do about this? And like I've noticed that in some of my posts will trigger people and they're like, oh my God, and they'll say all this stuff. And I'm like, and I don't take it personally because however you're feeling is up to you. And it's not like I meant to intentionally hurt you. So like however you're taking it is truly coming from you. Now I'll take responsibility if I did something wrong, but or if there was a misunderstanding or something. But that's one thing is you can't be taking responsibility for everybody's feelings. You can just take responsibility for your energy and what you've done. And of course, if it's somebody you love or care about, you want to consider that, Um, but yeah, so anyways, because as above, so below, your close people, that's going to show you a lot about yourself. Who are you hanging out with? What job do you have? How much money you making? What does your house look like? What does your car look like? All this are things that you've created for your life. Are decisions that you've made up to this point has brought this into your life and it's a reflection of where you're at. Is it actually a reflection of who you think you are? If it's not, that says there's a gap between who you really are and who you are right now. And when I say who you really are, is like the person that doesn't have all the negative thought loops, the one that's not keeping themselves in a place of not attracting what they want, not being in a place of being fully authentic, because not feeling good enough, not feeling like you're worthy, not feeling like you have to take care of other people or their emotions, like so you're not fully yourself, being scared to upset people or offend people. Like that right there is all taking away from your authenticity. And so there's going to be a gap. So if you notice your ideal life and where you are right now, there's gap. Now it's like, how can I become more authentic? So it can reflect who I really feel I am. And it's like, but do you really feel like that person all the time? Who is this ideal self of you? Can you feel into that person? What does it feel like to be that person? To be you in your highest level? It's probably all the feelings you've ever wanted to feel. It feels great. And if you can bring that in, because that's part of law of becoming, we've talked about that. And then law of attraction, all of that also comes back to this is can you feel into it? And it's not just feeling, it's becoming, so like you feel into it, but you got to become it. You got to start doing something about it. You got the feeling. Now let's go out there, buy that one outfit that fits more who you are. Or let's go get the gym membership, or let's go get the car. Or maybe I need to do something to get to that car. What do I need to do? What have I been holding back on? Because this is rightfully mine. The side of you that's authentic, everything that fits in that realm is rightfully yours. It's meant for you. But what we do is we put things in between that by not being ourselves. So if you notice the areas in your life that you're having a problem, that's actually identifying the areas in yourself that you need to become more of who you really are. Quit playing small. Quit helping that person. There's something in the Bible that says pretty much you're not supposed to help freeloaders, that it's going to affect your abundance too if you help lazy people. And it's because like again, the energy that you put around you. We were talking about boundaries and discernment. This is really important because the energy you put around you will affect you. Are they nurturing you or are they not? That you're in your little pot. You get to choose who's in there with you. And if you're keeping a freeloader around or you're keeping somebody who is not the best energy around you, guess what's going to happen? It's going to affect you too. So it's not just about a reflection of just directly, now that's a reflection of you, who you keep around you, you know? So like to be authentic, you have to have great discernment and boundaries. You really can't be authentic and not have good boundaries, because if you have that bad seed in your pot with you, how are you being fully authentic who you are when you're being drained the whole time? You can't be. Your energy is too scattered and too chaotic and too drained to be who you really are. It's not focused right. So, like, that's important, is looking at your life and reflect this week. Just watch everything that's going on in your life, and like go back to your ideal life. I think we did that in one of the beginning classes, and you may want to change that up now, after everything you've been through now in the classes, or even just in your own life. But look back at your ideal life and be like, what's different between my life and this life? Is every single thing different? Okay, start with one. Where can you start? And start working on yourself in that area and be like, okay, I am worthy. And you may notice that a few things get taken care of by just going after one of the things. It just naturally takes care of itself because the root got fixed instead of just a symptom. So that can happen. So to close today, well, first off, I wanted to see, with everything that we mentioned, uh, did you guys have any kind of questions on this one? On law of correspondence?
I think that law is actually in the Bible.
The law of correspondence, do you think it's in the Bible?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Jesus said once, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that's within coming out, right?
Yeah. So it
What
actually,
you say on the outside is a reflection on the inside. Yeah.
yep.
I mean, it doesn't specifically say law of correspondence, but the way you're describing it, yeah, I can see where that. But where in the Bible does it talk about helping a lazy
Helping a
person?
freeloader.
Yeah.
Actually, okay, so I do want to talk about the law of correspondence in the Bible, and then I'm going to tell you the verses for the freeloader. So it actually, Proverbs 23:7, for as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. That's a very important verse. I really do like that one.
Mhm.
Matthew, for out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaketh. A good man out of the good treasure of the heart bringeth forth good things. An evil man out of the evil treasure bringeth forth evil things. In the inner world, like what you were saying.
Mhm.
And then each tree is recognized by its own fruit. A good man brings good things out of the good stored up in his heart. The evil man brings evil things out of the evil stored up in his heart. And what I like about the Bible, and I love the Bible, is such a great book, of course. And Jesus's teachings, like, it's so big on understanding that the heart is where everything's coming from. It says it several times throughout the Bible, the heart. And that's why you got to guard your heart. And it says that in the Bible too, guard your heart. How do you do that? Boundaries. Your boundaries are all throughout the Bible. Discernment, all throughout the Bible. Great. Like, if people just follow the Bible, you'll cut out like all the BS in your life. And you'll live a good, abundant life. It's like definitely a book to follow. Um, so yeah, so it is in actually all the universal laws are basically covered in the Bible, especially through Jesus's teachings.
Hey, where was that in Matthew you were talking about?
Matthew 6:10 and Matthew 12:34. And then so the one on the freeloaders, uh
That sounds like it would come from a proverb, but I don't know if it
oh,
does.
um oh, let me share my screen. I forgot y'all aren't seeing it. Come on. Okay. So this is it. For even when we were with you, we gave you this rule: the one who is unwilling to work shall not eat. We hear that some among you are idle and disruptive. They are not busy, they are busy bodies. Such people we command and urge in the Lord of Jesus Christ to settle down and earn the food they eat. And then Timothy, but if anyone does not provide for his own, especially for those of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. So a man
Hmm.
that's not willing to provide for his family is not looked very well at in the Bible. Whoever is slack in his work is a brother to him who destroys. Laziness is compared to being destructive. Laziness brings on deep sleep, and the shiftless go hungry. The sluggard does not plow in season, so at harvest time he looks but finds nothing. Anyone who's been stealing must steal no longer, but must work, doing something useful with their hands, that they may have something to share with those in need. So, like, that's, I mean, I guess there's more than a few verses. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 about laziness. And then are there verses? I like to just call them freeloaders. Yeah, see, it actually goes against it too. So this is like, yeah, this is the bigger one that says, hey, don't be doing that. Keep away from any brother who is walking in idleness and not in accord with the tradition that you received from us. And the appetite of laborers works for them. Their hunger drives them on. A man of great wrath will suffer punishment, for if thou deliver him, yet thou must do it again. If you rescue somebody from the consequences of their actions, you'll just have to keep doing it, is basically. You're enabling people, don't do it. For each will have to bear his own load. So like when we try to bear other people's loads, we take on their karma. You remember we had that class too about, whenever you go in and step in for somebody, you basically take their karma. So if they're like a bottomless pit, guess what's going to happen around you? You're going to just feel like you're being sucked dry, and you're going to be like, how's this happening? I'm making all this money and this person just being in my presence is sucking me dry. Like, how is this happening? And so you got to be really careful about like who you do keep in your energy, because their energy is going to affect you. We're all energetic beings. So the closer you are to somebody, their energy is affecting you. That's why if you look at the top 5 people in your life, you are a reflection of them. The top 5 people, if you tell me what their bank accounts look like, I could tell you what yours looks like. And it's like we usually stay in the thermostat of where we are with the people that surround us. And if you're like, no, I'm surrounded by narcissists, well, then you are a savior. And so, yes, it still reflects on you about you, so like, so it doesn't mean it's a direct reflection at all times, but it's still a reflection that you need to see. It's showing you something, it's showing you too, showing you yourself, even whenever you're looking at the narcissist, because they respect you just as much as you respect yourself. They love you just as much as you love yourself. They give you just as much as you give yourself. So it's like when you start looking at things like that, you're like, ah, dang, I need to fix that. Because when you
What
start
is,
giving, uh-huh.
I'm sorry.
No, go
What
ahead.
is can you scroll down a little more? What's the rest of the core takeaway it says there?
The
Oh,
Bible's wisdom is to not harden our hearts towards those who truly can't work. Scripture is clear, we should help them. But when somebody chooses idleness and lives off others, we are told not to enable them because it keeps them stuck and drains the community.
okay.
We
I didn't
put
mean
them
to
all on their
interrupt
own
you. I'm
island.
sorry.
What?
I
Oh,
didn't
no,
mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
no, it's all good. Yeah, so like, uh, and that's like really just the law of correspondence is just a very important law you'll see everywhere. But you'll also see, like I said, universal law and Hermetic philosophy. You're going to see all that all throughout the Bible, especially with Jesus's teachings. The New Testament, you're going to see it more in that area. And it's like, I don't know. To me, I was like, why are we not learning this in school? I'm like, this seems to be the way to go. Um, like, especially when you realize the law of correspondence, like everything's coming from you. Your nervous system is also saying that too. It's like it's the transmitter and the receiver. So what does that mean? Yeah, everything's mental. Just like the first Hermetic philosophy principle is everything's mental. And so it's like, oh wow, so that means it really is coming from me. I'm the projector into my own video game. And so you're here, you get these challenges to overcome. It's supposed to be fun, by the way, guys. Just like why would you play a video game if it had no challenge, right? If you take on life like a game, because it to me it really is like a game. And if you take that challenge on, it's like challenge accepted, make it fun. It doesn't have to be like we should never be playing a game and not having fun. And you can get frustrated, but still have fun. And like you're on a playground, you make skin and knee, but get back up, get back on the playground. And it's just like learning that in this life. It's like it's just here to experience and have your fun while you're doing it. Don't take anything too seriously. And don't think you're that important either. If you were to die, life goes on. You know, like I'm not saying that you're not important. What I'm saying is like thinking I have to do all this or worried that if you're not there, something bad's going to happen. Like it's not like that, you know. Everything's okay. You're not um obligated to anything. Even though you can say you are, you know, it's all up to you. I think Jesus even had his disciples pretty much walk away from their families, and everybody was like, "Come on, let's just go." And it's like, "All right, you're going or you're not." There was no, "Oh, I have to do this, I have to do that." Nope. So like at any time we can always change. We can just make a change, do that becoming. All of a sudden you can be like, "I don't want to be this version of me because this isn't who I really am. This is the version of me that people get and that I get because I believed the crap that I didn't even want to hear in the first place. You know, like those inner voices that used to be outside voices, I made my inner voices. The programming, me watching my parents and only seeing everybody middle class made me think that this is all there is middle class. Like being wealthy is kind of far out there. Like that, I don't even know any wealthy people. You know, like people can be thinking all these thoughts, and it's like, well, but who are you really? We're all abundant. Like when it comes down to it, we all have the energy of all that is flowing through us. We're all abundant. But why are we not showing that? You know, like and it's like, okay, where do we need to like get real with ourselves? And every time you have an issue that comes up, like let's say that uh you're having money issues at the moment. You're like, oh my gosh, I need to fix this. I need to do this. I need to do that. You got to be careful when you start saying, I need, because you're coming from a place of lack. So then it's going to all of a sudden reflect even more to you, your problem. So instead, you have to actually be appreciative. So when you have to spend any money, even if it's a little bit of money, I'm so glad that I had that money to spend that on. I'm so appreciative. Thank you, God. You know, like that's awesome that I had that. And thank you so much that every time that I need groceries, you always have me. I always have the ability to get my groceries. You don't let me starve. You're so great. I feel so abundant knowing that all my needs are always taken care of. And you can just start feeling into that abundance, that feeling of appreciation. And then that's going to open up for the money to start coming in. And instead of being like, I need to do this, I need to do that, that's not going to do it. That's that chaotic energy. Your nervous system is dysregulated. You're not going to attract anything you really want in that energy. So you got to go back to, hey, acceptance. It's all good. And go, and if you can, go into love and peace and joy, gratefulness, and be like, I'm so happy. And I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm so happy that I have this time to go for this walk. You know, like I'm so happy that it's beautiful outside, that I can see. I can smell the flowers. And this is when you start changing your energy. And I know some people are like, oh my God, that's so stupid. No, this is how it's done. Like you change your energy. And some people, like, let's say, because like I'm a woman, so I talk more metaphysically, but let's say a man it was like, you know, going into more the physical side of it. Well, when they're like, get obsessed, go to the gym, wake up early, get excited. Well, if you look at it, they join these communities. They get pumped up with each other. When they're going to the gym, they get pumped up. Their energy's getting better. So they're still fixing their energy. They're just doing it in different ways. So they may not talk energy talk, but they talk about the actions you need to do the energy. And so whenever, if like a man was teaching this, more than likely he'd be teaching more on the physical realm of things, while me as a woman teaches more on the metaphysical. I'm not saying that that's always the case, but if you ever find a man teaching more on the metaphysical, he's probably more feminine in his energy. Like if you're like just watching him, he probably has more of his feminine energy showing up at that point. Because to me, women are more like the oracles, the metaphysical, in touch with all of that with their intuition, and the men are the more physical strength, protecting the metaphysical in the physical. So I feel like a woman is the metaphysical met physical, while the physical is a man protecting that, because she's like in between. She's that wise oracle, the one that can give you the messages more directly. Well, and so that's um yeah, going back to law of correspondence, um, that's that's something to look at like in your life. I just want to reset again, like kind of towards the end, is that just reflect on your life and in during this week, looking at the people that you have closest to you, how they treat you, what job you have, what car you have, what's your environment look like, what's your house like. Does this really reflect who you really are? And if it doesn't, what can you start doing to make that change? Fill in that gap and choose one thing. If you can do more than one, that's fine, but choose one thing. Um, and then the root of that will probably solve more, like I mentioned earlier. So, yeah, let me know how that works out for you guys. And then next week, we're going to go into another law of the universal laws. And I'll actually tie it into with some Bible verses too this next time, because I like to see how that works out too. All right, well, you guys have a great day, and I'll see y'all next week. Thanks, guys.